I got home from the hospital to surprise house guests and a disaster, so I called my mom. I'm 4 months pregnant with our first baby, and I've been sick non-stop. Last week I passed out while throwing up and hit my head on the bathroom tile. My husband found me bleeding and rushed me to the ER. They admitted me right away because I was badly dehydrated, and I stayed a week on IV fluids while they watched the baby. When I was discharged, the doctor said bed rest, no stress, and no extra work. All I wanted was to get home, drink water, and sleep. We walked in and I stopped in the doorway. The living room was trashed, dirty diapers on the coffee table, pizza boxes on the couch, toys everywhere, and the kitchen sink piled high. I asked what happened, and my husband said, like it was nothing, "Oh, my brother and his wife and the kids moved into the spare rooms while you were in the hospital." I thought he was joking. Then I heard 3 kids yelling down the hall and saw suitcases by the guest room. He hadn't asked me. He hadn't even told me. I started crying because I was dizzy and exhausted and it felt unreal. He sighed and said, "Babe, it's not that bad. They got here yesterday." I said, "Fine. If it's not that bad, you clean it. I'm going to bed. When I wake up, this house better be clean." He nodded, so I went to our room and passed out in my clothes. A few hours later, I woke up desperate for water. I went to the kitchen for a glass and found none. Every glass was dirty, scattered around the house with sticky juice or old milk. The sink was worse, not better. Nobody had picked up one toy. I stood there shaking, trying not to throw up again. I started washing dishes because I needed something clean to drink from. I was wiping tears off my face with the back of my wrist while I scrubbed. The next morning, I tried to work from home from my bed. Within minutes, the kids were screaming, running, and slamming doors non-stop. I heard them fighting over snacks, then pounding on my door. I went out and told them to quiet down. Their mom was in the guest room with the door shut. I knocked, and she said, annoyed, "I'm resting," while her kids were tearing through my house and I was the one on bed rest. When my husband got home, I thought he'd finally see it. Instead, he asked why his sister-in-law looked unwelcome. I said, "Because I asked her to handle her kids." He frowned and said, "She's tired. You should help her." Then he glanced at the mess and said, "Why is the house still like this? What did you do all day?" I just stared at him. I had just gotten out of the hospital, and he was acting like I'd been lazy. That's when I lost it. I said, "I'm sick. I'm on bed rest. I can't do this. They need to leave." He crossed his arms and said, "They're my family. I'm not kicking them out." My chest felt tight, and my hands were shaking. I realized nothing I said was getting through, so I pulled out my phone and called my mom right in front of him. When she answered, I told her everything, fast, while he stood there listening. My mom went quiet for a second, then said, "Pack a bag. I'm coming." 30 minutes later, she showed up with my 3 older brothers. My husband's face changed the second he saw them. My mom looked at the diapers, the dishes, and the toys. Then she looked at my husband and said, in the calmest, coldest voice, "If your family can move in without asking, then mine can too." Then my brothers didn't wait for permission. One started filling trash bags. One started on the dishes. One started picking up toys. My mom walked to the guest room, knocked once, and opened the door. She said, "Get out here. Your kids are out of control. If you're staying, you're helping." My sister-in-law tried to argue, and my mom said, "Or you can pack and leave tonight." My husband tried to speak, but my oldest brother cut in and said, "She fainted and hit her head. She's pregnant. You brought this mess into her recovery." My husband went silent. My brother-in-law came out, saw my family, and started talking about how they had nowhere to go. My mom pointed at the chaos and said, "Then you should have treated this place with respect. Clean and control your kids, or leave." There was this tense pause where even the kids stopped yelling. Then my sister-in-law rolled her eyes, grabbed a suitcase, and started snapping at the kids to find their shoes. My brother-in-law followed, dragging bags, looking angry but not arguing. My brothers kept cleaning while the family stomped back and forth, gathering their stuff. A kid started crying because he couldn't find a toy, and his mom barked at him to move. No one said sorry. I stayed in my bedroom with the door cracked, sitting on the edge of the bed, breathing through the nausea. I heard the front door open, then the rush of cold air, then the hard slam when it shut. The house went quiet all at once. My mom came to my doorway and said, "Okay, now you rest," and my husband didn't say a word. Now my husband is saying I went too far calling my mom. Was I wrong?